The third Hentai Expo just took place this year, and they covered over 50 games over the course of an 8-hour stream. They may want to rename this the Hentai Marathon. Now, I have covered many of these games previously, like Future Fragments and Subverse, but I did want to focus in on 17 of them, as well as talk a little bit about the history of the Expo. Joining us today is Andre, the creator of many adult games, including Love and Sex Second Base, Leap of Love, and My Demonic Romance, their newest game on Steam that just released as early access earlier this month. How are you doing?
Hi, I'm fine. I'm very happy to be here with you.
Yeah, I'm really excited to talk to you today. I know you were part of last year's Expo. What was that experience like for you?
Well, I was pretty happy to see that some people noticed our next game, and but it didn't result in any increase of business for us. We didn't see more players interested in our demo or increase in our wish list.
Do you have any content on DL site, or were you just expecting people to go to Steam?
We have content on DL site. We have Love and Sex, Leap of Love, and I think that's all on the other side, but it's so little money, it's crazy. It's maybe $100 a month.
Oh, wow.
Well, that's more than you make from YouTube. So.
Yeah, I know. I can't really talk. I'm like, wow, that sounds so nice. Just a little crumb of something.
Yeah, but as we are a 5-people company, $100 a month is nothing to us.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
So I know you've been following the Hentai Expo for the last 2 years. Mm-hmm. You didn't know about it the first year because you had just started.
Well, yeah, so SPG started like February of 2021, and their first Hentai Expo was on March 30th of 2021. So I wasn't really in the realm or like the space to know about it yet. So I did miss the first episode when it came out, and I did watch the second episode, or Expo, the week after it came out, and then immediately watched the first. And so this was the first one that I had watched live, and it was a lot, like time-wise. Like there were breaks, but it was still 8 hours long, and like the breaks were 10 minutes, and they would like cycle through people, but like it's still a lot. 8 hours is a lot. I mean, the last one was like what, 5 hours? And then the first one was like, I don't remember, like 2 hours. So it was probably their longest expo yet.
But the least number of games.
But the least number of games, yeah. Last year had like
over
100. Yeah, it was a lot. And this one only had like 50-ish. So
yeah, but I think that's something better, because last year I thought that they didn't spend enough time in each game.
Yeah, that is the problem. Like 100 plus games. And then only 5 hours, you're not spending a lot of time on each game. So yeah, maybe that's what they were trying to do for this one. You know, shortening the time, or wait, no, elongating the time and shortening the games.
I think we watched the second one together. I've never seen the first one still. You went back, but we watched the second one together. Mm-hmm. And I tried to sit in on this one, but that was too much for me. I think I missed. I went and took a nap. Yeah, and I came back, and you're still plowing through. I missed the succubus section in the ASMR section.
Yeah, in the ASMR section. Yeah.
So I enjoyed my nap though.
Yeah, I mean, you didn't really miss much with the ASMR ones. Because, I mean, I can't really talk about them.
Well, ASMR is to help people sleep, right? So I guess I didn't need...
Exactly.
I know that you've had some concerns about the relationship between the script writing and the hosts.
Yeah, well, so the script writing was interesting. Like, it didn't match the personalities of the hosts, and so there was like that disconnect between what they were reading on a script and what they were saying. And like you had like moments where they were like, oh, this is the script, like I'm just saying what's on the script, this is so like not
but it also made it sound like they didn't know anything about video games.
Also
let alone
that,
adult video games.
and then you could really tell when they actually knew a game, which was rare.
Like Hillary about the illusion games.
Yeah,
oh, sorry, the faux illusion games.
Yeah,
Ill games is not illusion.
But yeah, like you could tell that she knew about it, and she knew of these games.
And that was most excited. I think we saw her the entire.
Yeah, I know, but it was all the way at the end.
Yeah.
So it's like you could see her light up and talk about these things, but it was all the way at the end. And who knows how many people stuck around.
And the cringiest thing for me was Hi Guy. I guess Demi was in the Discord. The voice actor, the
Subverse.
Oh my God, I can't talk. Bordeaux Black was in the chat, and she voices Demi for Subverse.
Yeah.
And he had no idea who she was, and it sounded like he's never played Subverse,
which was so surprising to me because Subverse
I don't think he plays adult games because he plays old school games and
that's
he streams
true.
those.
Yeah, he has like a Twitch that plays retro.
But
games.
He was like, oh, whatever you are, a developer or a mod. He just had no idea, and it was that was tough.
Was painful.
And the thing was, I know that DL Side M plays these games, even if the other three don't.
Mm-hmm.
And it looked like they didn't know what they were talking about. And I even think if they had access to the script an hour before, the day before, so they could practice and look at the things and be aware. Like, for example, every game that you're going to talk about today, you told me in advance and you told Andre in advance. And you're just like, hey, these are the games I want to talk about, so you can be aware, prepare yourself however much you want to. Yeah. I don't think that the DL site organizers gave that
type of preparation
advantage to the hosts. And that's unfortunate because I think that with a little more because the audio video quality has gone up a lot.
Oh yeah, the video production quality was so much better than last year.
You love the music?
I love the music. Yeah, I did want to give like a props to the guy who did it. He's called Ghost Pops, and he did like this, like during the breaks, the 10-minute breaks, he would put on music, and it was like this 8-bit video game music, kind of almost jazzy like too. It was just really nice. It was kind of like the music that I listened to when I worked.
Just in general.
Yeah, so
your Mario smooth jazz.
Yeah. So I was like, oh yeah, I like this. I can get down with it.
I think, but there's room for improvement, and
of course,
for me, I find the interesting thing to be, you are a video game channel that happens to cover adult content, video games mostly, and
yeah, it just happens.
Occasionally, things on the Bronze Age collapse and Disney rides, and
yeah, and then what was that Dune game?
Well, you complained that there was no sex.
Yeah,
but Hentai Expo seems to be saying, oh no, we're in the porn business, and here are these games as part of our porn business.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's hard because DL's site, it does have games, but it does also have other things. Like, they had that whole ASMR section, and they have ASMR stuff on DL's site. And they also have, I think, movies. And so they have all these other things along with video games. So
it makes sense that they have a different worldview on this thing.
Yeah,
I guess the other side of the coin from where you're coming from.
Yeah.
So you're coming from, oh, I look at this as a video game thing, and they're like, oh, we look at this as a porn thing.
Yeah, or maybe just like a mix of everything. Yeah. And so.
Yeah, but not knowing Subverse is very sad. in this industry, it's very sad because it's the biggest porn games ever in history.
There were a couple games where DL Side M had recorded footage and played through.
Oh, yeah, his playthrough.
So he definitely had knowledge about those games, but if you just looked at what they said and how they interacted, none of them seemed to have.
Yeah.
And that's a perception thing. You know, nobody expects a late night talk show host to have encyclopedic knowledge of all of their guests and everything else, but that's why they rehearse, and that's why they work with their writers, and I'm not expecting the production quality to be at that point, but I do think having somebody who at least has played the games or has some cursory knowledge of the games, like, for example, Annie, you've played most of those games. I know of the 17 games we're going to cover today, you had a checklist, and out of the 50-some games, you hadn't played like 5 of them, and you knew about all but one of them.
Yeah.
So, and that's not you're looking for a job with them.
No,
but there
no.
are many people like you in this space who are avid consumers of these games because you guys are gamers. And I think having an avid gamer, not you, on next year, I think could bring a greater degree of legitimacy, or at least prepping the same host, because you loved, who was the one you really liked? And this year's one. What host did you really like?
Oh, June Lovejoy. I said that weird. Yeah. June Lovejoy, yes.
You're like, I'm trying to remember her name.
Yeah, I remembered it was June, and I had to remember her last name. June Lovejoy. But yeah, I really liked her. I liked how she kind of took like this almost leadership role when she was present, even if she was like on the ends of like the 3-chair thing.
Like Hillary was more comfortable when the two of them were at the table together.
Yeah. There was more of a flow when she was there, and I really appreciated that. And you know, she had a professionalism while talking about things.
She's probably got more on-screen experience than all of them put together. So.
Probably, yeah.
So that's...
I know. You got to take that into consideration.
But I think having them a little bit more prep next year, or bringing in a gamer voice, male or female, not you, would...
It's going to make that real clear.
Even if we're in Japan at the time... We're pulling the veto.
Yeah, it's like I don't want to do it. I can watch it though.
Oh no, I think that you would be. The level of anxiety. I just can't imagine that amount of time on screen. You would want to die. On screen,
yeah, 8 hours. Yeah. I couldn't even do like the first 2 hours.
You were terrified when they talked about there was a rap party. That's what the after party's called.
Oh, right.
Those are what normies do. After they wrap up something, they call it a rap party.
I thought you said rat.
Yes, it's a rat party.
I was like...
Everyone dresses up in rat costumes.
Well, I was thinking like they could just go to like an alleyway.
Well, we can ask our French guest.
Oh,
if I know ratatouille, rats are very effective members of the French culinary community, and I'm sure they have rat parties.
Well, we have rat parties in Paris, I'm sure.
In the catacombs, they're just hanging out, playing hentai games. The hentai rat expo, it's all rats playing the games.
So stupid.
Actually, a Ratatouille parody with an adult game could be quite fun, with an inept guy who can't get any girl and a rat who take control of him to help him seduce girls. Could be fun. You play the rat.
Unfortunately, Patreon would ban it because it's mind control, so because they're no fun.
It's hair control, though.
It's hair control.
He's controlling the hair.
It's like he's keeping his mind. We're just controlling his body.
If it's consensual, it's okay. So Patreon would not ban it if the controlled person is consenting to it.
I don't think they make any allocation for it at this point. But they're becoming more and more no fun as Visa and MasterCard continue to become more and more no fun.
Yeah, as time goes on.
But, I mean, overall, you enjoyed it.
Yeah, overall, I enjoyed it.
I think it would have been better. One of the things I saw a lot in the chat was people were like, yeah, but this is like E3. You're not supposed to know about it. But when you had E3, the people who talked about the games were generally the developers of the games. The people who ostensibly would know about the games.
And, so... when they talk about like I don't know if this is how they do it, but they have like a little blurb of the game, and I don't know if like the developer sends that in or like
it's probably.
Do you know, Andre? Like, did you have to like send like a little blurb of your game?
I sent a few visuals and a blurb explaining my game and a link, I think.
Yeah, so I feel like that's like the only information that they're getting, especially if they haven't played the game. So it's like,
I know how much it costs to put on a production like this, and especially pay to stream it, because you stream on YouTube, you stream on Twitch, that's free for you. You stream on your own, that is incredibly expensive. And so I know how much money they're spending to do this. I know how much money it costs to send people to a convention. They're sending people to Anime Expo next year. I'm sorry, not next year.
No, this year.
In July. I'm sorry. In 2 months. And I know how much that stuff costs. And that amount of money, they could have paid somebody to play all these games and just be like, okay, here's what these games are, and incorporate that into a script, and that would have been so much more meaningful for a fraction of the cost of the outlay that was put on this production. You spend all that time and effort on improving the production. You hire in more charismatic people. That's a big deal. And it just seems like a minor thing that would have made it so much more impactful. But we're not bashing on it. You still enjoyed it. You're still looking forward to next year.
Yeah, I am. I'm hoping that their level of preparation increases for next year. But overall, I am excited for next year and probably the year after that. It's just interesting to see, it showcases Japanese games, it showcases the ASMR stuff, I think it's interesting, especially for the Western audience. So I'm excited for next year.
So what is our first game?
So the first game I wanted to talk about was Magical Monstergirls Academy.
All right.
Monstergirls are so popular with these games. Like, I'm pretty sure like most of these games have
some kind
monsters,
of monster
girls. Yeah. So for the story, I'm gonna be honest, I really didn't know what was going on. Like, it kind of felt like I had spawned like 5 chapters ahead of where I needed to be. And I did a bit of digging, and I found out that it's actually the sequel to Magical Waifus Academy, which they also had on one of their hentai expos. And I thought that made much more sense on why this kind of it felt like I was talking to characters who they already know who I was,
but you had no idea.
But I had no idea what was going on.
There was no recap telling you what happened on the last episode of Dragon Ball Z.
Exactly. So so once I kind of got my bearings, it was easier to play. I did like it because it played like an old computer game. The ones that you had on like CDs that you would put in the computer. Shut up! I played those games, okay? I'm not calling you old or anything. I played those kinds of games. But like,
I thought you were going to at least be like a floppy disk or something.
Oh God. I don't think I've ever touched a floppy disk. But yeah, like the whole vibe of it was very much like a early 2000s CD game, which I thought was pretty cool. I thought that was very unique looking.
You also seem to think that's pretty old as well.
Yeah, that's true.
All right.
But I also thought it felt like a computer game. Like there was no instructions on what to do. You're kind of just exploring based on your vibes and your knowledge from previous games.
So this is one of those games where it had a pretty steep learning curve because there was all this pre-existing tribal knowledge that you needed to have.
Yeah, all that tribal knowledge and all... That sounds weird to say. Tribal knowledge?
Yeah, it's supposed to institutional knowledge.
Oh, okay.
Tribal knowledge is like you're expected to know it, where if it's institutional knowledge, you will have... There's something in place to teach it to you.
Oh.
So like a tutorial, and it can be a hard game.
Yeah.
Like Dark Souls is a hard game, but it can teach you how to play, especially the later ones, can teach you how to play it and instruct you how to play it. Now you're still falling upon, a lot of video games you'll fall upon existing tropes and ideas. Like what happens when you shoot a barrel in a video game?
It explodes.
It explodes. What does that make any sense?
No, it doesn't. But you had to have that kind of knowledge going into this game because it like I said, it spawns you in 5 chapters ahead. Yeah. So you kind of just have to learn as you walk around and interact with characters.
So what made you pick it?
I liked the aesthetic of it. Like I said, like it looked like an old computer game.
Was it 8-bit? Would that appeal to you?
Yeah, it was pixel art, so I did like that. I am partial to pixel art games.
Was there a nice map or anything like that?
They did have a map. I don't know. It's not that great.
I know you wanted to talk to Andre about his maps.
Oh, well, yeah, I did. I did want to talk about, like, Love and Sex Second Base's map. I loved that map. It's so good. It's so good. It's so detailed.
Which one, the house or the city?
Well, both actually. I mean, I love the city one. I love how detailed it was. It was really nice, and I also liked how you could like see where people were.
No,
that is
really
so
like that.
important. It's so important because then you don't have to like memorize their schedules. Yeah, and plus with like I mean, how many girls are in that? Like 20 plus. So
and one bear.
Yeah, I think we had 24 girls, something like that.
yeah. So keeping track of all of their schedules is probably that would be a nightmare. So having a map where it tells you like where people are is so important with harem games especially. And I also liked your Leap of Love map.
You really liked that one.
I did. It's about a frog who turns into a man and he has to
it's a reverse of the Frog Princess.
yeah, it's that.
And I'm very proud of that game, actually. It made way less money than Love and Sex, but I'm so proud of it. Because, the gameplay is much tighter, and the story is more contained, and I'm very happy with what we did for Leap of Love.
You made a fun game that didn't take forever in development, and it finished, and you had a DLC to it, which was like Halloween stuff. It was fun. The problem is you make so much less money on that than you do a game which has a long development cycle like Love and Sex Second Base. It's almost like the consumers are forcing you to make decisions financially against what they say they want, which is fascinating.
I think it was a marketing issue because we learned a lot of Leap of Love and the game we are not talking about, the mistake we made, and how to best use the algorithm on Steam. So I think the success of MDR of My Demonic Romance right now is proof that we could have a good success with Leap of Love if we had the right skills at the moment.
You're kind of, what I like to see is almost like the poster child for success in this space. You started, with the first Love and Sex, which seemed like more like a passion project than anything else. And then you went to Second Base, which was a commercially viable form.
It's basically Love and Sex, but
allowed. And then you built your base on Patreon, continue to develop your craft and your skill set, and have released multiple games now and have been very successful. I mean, it's not Fresh Women successful, but still very successful.
Oh yeah. We need like a plaque
and
with him on it.
And you have to the point now where you have a whole company with employees and everything, and that's we should be lauding success stories like yours, because it's very easy to point to all of the failures and burnouts and cash grabs and everything else, but I don't think we appreciate and call attention to when a developer actually delivers, and you deserve props for that.
Yeah, I think one of the big success last year for our industry was on my side I loved Space Rescue Code Pink, I think the name is.
Yes.
I think it's a fantastic game with incredible graphics, a nice gameplay, good story, and it's made by just one guy alone. And I think that's crazy. That guy deserves all the kudos we can give him.
Yeah, I find that game really fun. I love it.
I don't think it's had nearly the commercial success that you have, though. So
no, unfortunately not.
So it's great that you're calling it out, but we probably need to point out, hey, if we're going to see more developers in this space, there has to be at least some sign that you can do things the right way and be commercially successful.
Yeah.
What is your next game?
Well, my next game is MonMusu Paradise.
I knew you were going to pick this one as soon as we saw it.
As soon as you saw it? Yeah, well, because the graphics pulled me in.
Pixel art again?
Yes.
You've got a soft spot for pixel art.
Yeah, I love pixel art, and so it reminded me of like a very simple version of Octopath Traveler.
As soon as I saw fishing and like foraging and stuff, I knew it was...
Yeah, whatever.
You're like...
Yeah, there is fishing. It's very bare minimum. The whole game is very bare minimum, to be honest. And I did run into a lot of bugs, but, you know, it's still playable and it's still enjoyable. And I still see the promise of it. Basically, the game is like you quit your salary job and you travel to your late grandfather's island resort.
So it's Stardew Valley.
Let me finish. Yeah, pretty much. And he's handed down this island resort to you, and you kind of just decide, like, oh, I'm going to make this into an amusement park. Because that makes sense.
I remember. And they didn't talk at all about, like, the plot of the game.
No, they didn't.
They were just showing
on the
it.
Hentai
So
Expo.
when you went and actually found it and played it, you're like...
Yeah, I was like, it's about an amusement park? I had no idea. They just didn't know the games. And anyways, when you get there, you're actually transported into hell, I guess, and you meet the succubus and you sign a contract with her. It's not known what the contract is. It's
probably sex related.
It's probably sex related. She ends up actually working for you in the amusement park.
Yeah, she's got to be part of the harem.
I know.
Rules here.
Yeah. So maybe her contract was like, I'm going to work with you or I'm going to boss you around.
I've always wanted to sell cotton candy. It's been my dream here in hell because it's too hot. The cotton candy melts.
Exactly. You're so stupid. She does not sell cotton candy. She works in like this office building, and
she's got to work her way up to selling cotton candy.
Well, all the amusement areas are different sections. So or like different stages. Yeah. So it's interesting. So like the area that you start in is kind of like a salary man area. So you have like a high rise with offices and...
You're in downtown Tokyo.
Well, so I was going to get to that. Like you have like this entire city. It looks like a city and it acts like a city. That's why I was confused on if this was like an amusement park or not. But I mean, I'm guessing like if you look at, what was that? Tokyo Disney... The one that was cool with
Disney
like the volcano.
Sea?
Yeah, Disney
Sea.
Yeah, you know how like that downtown area where they have like the town, like it's like old America or something.
Yeah, it was like New York town or something.
Yeah. So it's like that. So I was very confused on like why I was seeing a city. And I was like, this is supposed to be an amusement park, but I guess that's the point, that it looks like a city. But yeah, the story is all over the place. You don't really know what's going on, but the graphics are nice. Okay. And like I said, it reminded me of Octopath Traveler, so
which
very simple version.
We did the Square Enix Cafe, and you absolutely loved all the swag.
Yeah, I have like, what are they called? It's like a sticker book, but also like, what are those things called that you put drinks on? Coasters, yeah.
And you got a poster, and you took all sorts of pictures because you really liked all the food and stuff.
Yeah. Maybe on the YouTube version, I'll put up pictures.
Put some of the pictures you took?
Yeah.
I know you're excited about it.
Yeah, that was really fun.
And you don't like the game of Octopath as much, but you love the art, so...
Yeah, I would love to get like an art book of Octopath Traveler.
We'll have to do that next time we're in town.
Yeah.
All right, your next game.
So the next game I have is called The Fairy Tale of Holy Knight Ricca, Two Winged Sisters. Now,
you've covered this one before, I thought. Wasn't this on one of your DL site lists at some point? They were announcing the DLC. I think that was the point of them talking about it. Because I remember you playing this at some point. Maybe you didn't end up releasing a video. You do that a lot.
Yeah, I do that a lot. I play a game and I create a list and I just never release it.
Sometimes you write a script. I've seen you record things and not release them.
Oh, yeah. Like I would go as far as, recording and editing.
And you're like, this is terrible.
Yeah, and I was like, all right, I guess we're not going to do it. So, I mean, maybe.
I love the visual of this one. Fairy Tale of the Holy Knight. It's very pretty.
Yeah, it is pretty, and it's really popular. Like, I wasn't aware of how popular it was until I played it, and I saw like all the reviews for it.
Yeah, a pretty anime-style corruption female protagonist sex on defeat game. I can't imagine why that's so popular in Japan.
But I'm a bit over the goblin trend. The goblin trend is a bit overdone right now, I think.
The what
yeah,
trend?
the goblin trend.
Oh,
Yeah.
They're just more monsters.
Yeah, change them. Use something else. I don't know, kobolds or anything. D&D is full of small monsters that you can stick big dicks to.
We'll have it be hobbits instead.
Hobbits?
Yes, hobbits.
No!
Yeah, hobbits. Good idea, hobbits.
Hobbits are so nice, and why would you want to...
Get the amount that they eat, that could easily be a war game.
That's... Okay. Well...
And we'll call it 11sies.
11sies. Yeah, well, not... Why not just Gollum? Or is that just a goblin?
Gollum was a hobbit kind of thing that got corrupted.
Yeah, I know. But or would Gollum count as a goblin?
Well, it's never said. It's never said clearly.
Yeah,
it's never said
clearly? Well, it's depending on how far you want to go into the compendiums and other books and everything. There's a lot of stuff that Tolkien didn't explicitly write that his son added. It's fan fiction.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
And the Tolkien people will be like, it's not fan fiction, it's real. J.R.R. Tolkien sneezed on this napkin, and from that sneeze, we know 10,000 years of elvish lore.
Stupid.
But yes, so you could use, how about we use...
What about, like, rats?
Giant space hamsters.
Giant space hamsters.
Giant space hamsters.
Exactly. Just use them.
Yes. It would be totally fine.
Yeah.
It'd still be a war game.
I do think the rules at Patreon is that if it's a fantasy creature, it's okay. So you could do the giant space hamsters, just not regular hamsters.
Unfortunately, Hasbro owns the rights to the giant space hamster, so you would not be able to do that.
Lame.
I know. Sorry. But maybe one day we can see D&D sold off from Wizards of the Coast again and let somebody who actually cares about tabletop gaming have, a chance to,
that would
make
be
it.
so nice.
It's not going to happen.
I know, but one can hope.
You would have to pry it from the corpse of Hasbro once it finally collapses on itself, but that's not happening anytime soon.
So disappointing.
If the Activision selling itself for twice what it's worth to Blizzard, to Microsoft told us anything, is that there is no fairness, there is no justice.
Jesus.
So the bad guys always win.
You're bleak.
Yeah, I know. Very bleak.
I'm sorry.
Anyways, back to the game that we were talking about.
Happy Sex on Defeat game.
It's not happy. So
that's the point.
Oh my god. But yeah, it's not happy. This game is it takes a dark turn. It has like that anime trope where it's like really happy at the beginning, and then it takes like that
but
sharp...
you have outfits you can wear.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, there is the character customization.
And it's actually got gameplay. So.
And it's actually, the gameplay. It's actually pretty cool. Like it's what is it called? Like a side scroller?
Yeah.
Yeah, and
like action RPG elements.
Yeah, and you fight the monsters. It could be slimes, it could be goblins, whatever.
It reminded me a lot kind of like Escape Princess. Different interface, but that same kind of cutesy but dark story.
Yeah.
With your anime characters.
Yeah. Like you said, there's sex on defeat mechanics. And they are pretty intense. So, I'm just going to put that out there.
Yeah.
They're intense.
I think people can check it out and see the video you're putting on. We don't have to go into detail.
Yeah, and I said it takes a dark turn.
Let's stay on YouTube, shall we?
The turn is dark. But there are a ton of chapters, like I think at least 20 that I know of. And there's also a skill tree that you can use, the gems that you kill monsters. Like you kill the monsters and you get these gems that you can use in the skill tree. Yeah.
And they announced the
nice
DLC,
game.
but they don't have any stuff for it yet. So
yeah.
There were a couple of those. And there was a big announcement at the end, too, that I know you're going to talk about for the last game. But
yes.
Which it was like this announcement with nothing behind it. It's like, okay, great. But we'll get there in another
we'll get there.
15, 16, 20 games.
It's not going to take that long. I'm going pretty fast.
I know. Faster than DLSite did.
Ooh. Faster than my 41 games. That took forever.
I know for our next game, Junk Hero, you were actually talking to the developer because they were hanging out in the chat.
Yeah, so, and they came on Discord, and we had a chat about stuff. Mm-hmm. I mean, I don't want to talk more about it, but because that's private.
Yeah.
But I did talk to the developer of Junk Hero, and I had fun with this game.
This is an early game.
Oh, very early.
I know. I think
I'm pretty sure prototype is in.
Its Patreon started this in January, December or something. So.
Yeah, it's still very much a prototype, but it's basically you are isekai'd into a fantasy world where you have to use your excellent cooking skills from your previous life to make a living. And you found a tavern, you open a tavern, and you can have, it's right next to what is it called? It's where adventures go, dungeons. It's next to a dungeon. I'm sorry.
Adventures go.
I'm like, what's that thing called? Dungeons. It's next to dungeons. And so you have your guests come in and they're like adventurers, and you can serve food and drinks to them. The serving and the food gathering is interesting. For each thing that you have to cook for them, you actually have to go out into the forest and pick apples off the ground to make an apple pie.
Because there's obviously no functional system of trade where you can pay people to do that. Don't adventurers have a thing where you can put up a notice for them to go get the things for you? But no, you got to go do it yourself.
Well, at some point you can just buy them off of like this counter.
When you have enough money.
Yeah, when you have enough money. Yeah, so.
But early on you have to forage.
But yeah, early on, like for an apple pie, you have to forage for like 4 apples, and then you have the cooking. So the cooking system is so funny to me because there's obviously a door to like the kitchen, but it doesn't go into the kitchen. It's just at the door. You cook at the door, and so.
Well, that's a lot. It's got to render a whole nother room. That's extra time and energy.
Yeah, I know. It's just, I thought it was funny.
Isn't Love and Sex Third Base going to be 3D?
Yeah, that's the plan. But it's taking a long time because for us it's a lot of new stuff because we have to change your engine because we worked with RenP so far and we are making that game on Unity.
Yeah, that's a big learning curve.
Yeah.
I know.
Will there be cooking?
Will there be cooking?
Will you be making apple pies?
Well, there is cooking in Love and Sex. You don't have to get the ingredients, but you can cook for the girls.
Yeah, and if you get you read the cookbook and you get the cooking skill. Yeah. And then you can it helps more.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Yeah, but having various recipes and girls liking this or that recipe is something I would like to do in third base.
Ooh. I am all for that.
Like the harem juggling in your games aren't hard enough already. Let's add another layer of difficulty with food preferences.
Yeah, honestly.
I love giving my players nightmares.
Oh, dude, seriously, it's like it's insane. Like even on the dates, you got to figure out if you go on a double date. It's not technically a double. What would you call it? A 3-person date. When you go on a 3-person date, you have to carefully balance your decisions because they never like the same thing.
Of course not. Yeah.
So it's like, it's a nightmare.
I like the harem tropes, but something I decided early on with Love and Sex is that okay, you want harems, you want to date multiple girls. I won't make it easy for you.
You're gonna make them suffer first.
I'm okay with them having harems. I'm just not going to make it easy for them.
And that's more realistic.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah.
Because in a lot of these games, it feels like that the characters with these multiple girls, they're just kind of frozen in time if you're not interacting with them.
Yeah.
They like have no life or existence if they're not in front of you on the screen. So
because you are the life.
I took some hits because of it. Because, for example, when we introduced the events with Sasha, when she can go back to her ex-boyfriend if you don't seduce her fast enough. I had people come to me and say, "Hey, it's unfair. I don't want my girl to go back. She's not your girl yet. You don't have a relationship with her.
You gotta work harder."
To be fair, you saw her and called dibs. That's all it takes, right?
Oh God.
I think adding a degree of realism where if you have a harem situation and you do not maintain the relationship and they can go meet somebody or fall in love with somebody else, like can happen in The Sims.
Yeah.
I think that would be an amazing degree of believability, but I think a lot of your fans would hunt you down and burn down your studio. So, there's
I do think I have a kind of Stockholm Syndrome relationship with my fan base, so I think it's okay.
I'm afraid to ask
I know.
who kidnapped who. All right, what is our next game?
So the next game is called Sennagi, and I'm just gonna call it Sennagi. There is more, but it's all in Japanese, and I don't want to butcher it.
Now, this is one of the games that I know you haven't played.
Yeah, I didn't really play this one as much as the others, because I had played Yamazomi Revenger, which is by the same company. It's or by the same publisher. It's called SQ, and that's a game that I had to play for my podcast that I had with the developer of Ravager.
Because he recommended it to you.
Yeah, because it deals with monsters and demons and all that kind of stuff. And it's basically, SQ is a publisher that kind of makes the same games.
Since the 1990s.
Yeah, so I was looking at they have like an opening movie that I watched, and I looked at their website, and it's basically the same kind of game where
with
you
that
have
combat mechanic.
Yeah, with the combat mechanic, with like the corruption of the female protagonist, and yeah, so it's very much like Yamazomi
Intertwined
Revenger.
with the light novel aspects.
Yeah, and like you have like the main character you play, he acts like a good guy, but he's really having like evil other thoughts.
Oh no.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that was supposed to be a secret, but
Spoilers.
it was on their website, so I don't know what to tell you. They have exorcism battles where you and the heroine fight together.
Yeah.
You fight demons. They're called night demons because they come out during the night. Great naming. And you have basically 4 bosses that you have to I guess fight through. Yeah, and they're all love interests.
So what made you pick this one? It was pretty.
Yeah, it was pretty. That's basically it.
I'm telling you, my checklist is going to be: is it pretty? Is it 8-bit? Does it have farming? And does it have good maps? We'll see how many.
Okay,
games.
yeah, that's pretty fair. Yeah, that's pretty fair.
Or is it a sequel to something that's come out before that's popular by the same developer?
Yeah.
About maps, I forgot. Last time you talked about maps, I wanted to tell you that you will be happy very soon with 11.6. We're adding one more.
What
kind
of map?
Yeah, we're adding a map for the mall.
Oh, for the mall. Oh, that would be much better.
Oh, that'd be so nice. I always had trouble going around the mall.
It's planned for this summer.
Oh, really? Okay. I'm excited now.
And to be fair, you have had troubles with malls in real life.
I have?
Yes.
What?
I remember. I'm going to tell him the Tivana story.
Oh. You know what? It closed because of this reason, so I don't really feel any bad. Okay. So yeah, that's fine. You can tell him.
If you haven't picked up on this now, Annie is a big extrovert. I know you've been talking to Andrea. You've been talking to Annie for probably like 3 years now.
Yes, something like that. Yes.
Yeah.
And she's a bit of an introvert, and so we were at the mall back when we lived in the United States, and there was a chain of places that sold tea. It was loose leaf tea, and they sold tea sets, and it was very chill. And one of the things that they would always have samples of tea, pre-COVID, when you could still have samples of things and not be terrified. They'd have samples of tea, and one of the things she wanted to go to the GameStop. She'd always want to go.
I had priorities.
Yeah, but she'd always want to stop and get the tea. And so that was like one of the things that she'd always want to do and go to Tivana. Well, Starbucks bought Tivana and tried to turn it into this
like interactive, like they would come and talk to you about tea, and I'm like, I just want to drink your little sample and leave.
And the thing was, we shopped at Tivana a lot and bought all sorts of different teas quite often.
Yeah.
So everybody in the family would have their favorite teas and drink them, and we bought tea sets from them. So we were
Tivana people.
And there was this one time she goes in on her own and she's like traumatized by the woman that approaches her and tries to have like a conversation with her.
She was like, "Oh, do you like this tea?" And I was not expecting to be like talked to, and so I was like, "Oh yeah, it's good." And she's like, "Oh, like what kind of tea do you usually drink?" And I was like,
tea flavored
tea." And I was like, and oh my god, it was so embarrassing. She just stared at me. She was like, "Oh yeah, okay."
Annie never went back.
I never went
to that
back.
Teavana ever again.
No.
And whenever we walked by it in the
I would
mall,
have to go to the other side of like the divider part. I'm like, I'm not walking by there.
So this mall trauma can be long lasting.
It really can. And then they all closed because of this reason.
Because all of the introverts were driven away by people asking, "What kind of tea do you like?"
Yeah.
I just want the tea.
I just wanted my sample and then to leave. That's all I wanted. But no, they took that away from me.
It's okay. You still had GameStop to go to.
Yeah, I know.
But
then they all closed.
You were a young girl. They were never going to approach you in the GameStop.
Yeah, sure.
Oh, man. All right. What is our next game?
Oh, my God. So our next game is the Shimmering Horizon and Cursed Blacksmith. This is a dungeon delving game. It's also a roguelike adventure. And the story is actually really interesting. I really liked how the story progressed. So you start off waking up in an unknown area. You don't know who you are and you don't know how you got there. But you have a sword and you and you meet this mysterious girl who kind of tells you oh, you need to go fight monsters and demons. And you really have no other choice of anything else to do.
A standard web novel start.
Okay. Maybe that's why I like it.
You do read a lot of those.
I do.
It's out of Taiwan?
Yeah. So you're fighting off monsters and you are slowly recollecting your lost memories and piecing together who you once were. And these memories can also be about your blacksmithing past. And then you can use these memories to make better and cooler weapons. And that's why it's called, it has blacksmith in the title. That's where it comes from. But yeah, I thought that was really cool how blacksmithing is so integrated into the game.
So it's like Monster Hunter meets Planescape Torment.
Yeah.
Which you haven't played. I tried to get you to play that.
Really?
I tried to get you to play it, and you hated the graphics and refused to.
Well, were they old?
Yeah, it was like the original Baldur's Gate.
Oh.
Yeah, but it's a great game. It's fantastic.
Yeah, but I've learned that
But
there's
if
a
it's
certain
too
threshold.
Old, yeah.
I got her to play Final Fantasy VI. I got her to play Chrono Trigger.
But they were the remastered.
Yeah, that's true. You wouldn't. Yeah, because but once you get earlier than that, she's just.
Because it I don't know.
She says she likes 8-bit games, but she doesn't like low resolution
I like
games.
16-bit games.
Or whatever.
Yeah, but Planescape is not cute. Chrono Trigger is cute.
That's true. Chrono Trigger is cute.
Yeah, I'd say it's definitely cute. Planescape is one of the cooler D&D worlds back when D&D was cool.
Yeah.
And it's still allowed to be before it was completely ruined by Wizards of the Coast.
Yeah. You've already talked about this.
Yeah.
So
but Planescape was around the same time as Spelljammer, the space one that you like with the giant space hamsters.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Planescape basically was all about going into the planes and interacting with the gods, and they put a city in the middle of it, and the city was probably one of their most creative endeavors ever, and because they were drawing from stuff that Gary Gygax had been working on with Shadow Realms and everything, and they took all of that unfinished stuff and they kind of threw it all into Planescape, and it was amazing and it was creative. And
yeah, see, that sounds really cool. They just need to remake that.
The problem is that the current Hasbro.
I know they probably would not.
They take all the sharp edges off.
Ugh.
And the whole point of, they created a whole new language for Planescape, and it was a dark place, and it was full of, it it was not good, it was not evil, it was truly a neutral place. And to have a truly neutral place, you're going to have good and evil. You're going to have law and chaos.
That's probably why I really liked Final Fantasy VI.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, it had those
some
kinds
sharp
of
edges.
themes.
Yeah. That game's got abortion in it and suicide and all sorts of crazy stuff. It's not a kid's game, but it sure was marketed that way. But you really enjoyed it, especially the tentacle monster.
Yeah, what was his name? Ultros?
Yes.
Yeah. God, I died to him so many times.
It's
not even funny.
You didn't understand. You needed to level appropriately.
Well,
you're so used to modern RPGs where it's like a carnival ride where you just sit along and you're like, oh, I go from this city to that city, and it's not like, oh, I've
had to grind.
You know how to do that.
Well, okay. I've had to grind before. I remember I had to grind for what was it called? Ni no Kuni 2. I had to grind in that one.
Okay, another cute game.
Well, whatever. That's what hooks me. If it's like an RPG that's cute. Yeah. But yes, the Shimmering Horizon and Cursed Blacksmith, I thought that was a really cool game, especially with, they had cat girls with cat language.
So, Monster Hunter.
Yeah.
And I know your next game was Eighth Heaven, and this was one of those you're like, oh, I'm really interested in this as soon as you saw it.
Well, yeah, it looks really cool. It looks really unique. And Andre, I think this is one of the ones that you were also excited about, right?
Yeah, the visuals are very, very beautiful and original. I love the art direction. It's a paper character, on the background. I think it's very interesting the way they did the mix of 2D and 3D.
It reminded me of Paper Mario. I don't know, some people might not know that, but Paper Mario it was a Mario game where he looked like paper, and it was in like this paper, shut up, it was like this paper environment, so you still have like that 2D element, but also the 3D environment kind of element, and so that's what reminded me of this, and Paper Mario is probably one of my favorite Mario games. But yeah, I thought it was a really unique style. When I first saw it on the Steam Next Fest, I was like, oh my god, I'm so excited about this game. And it's coming out this summer. So the gameplay is like you are a barista. And, well, okay, I guess I should start with the story first. So give some context. So the story is that you have died and you are given like the second chance of life, and you have landed on this island with all of these other monster characters. Well, I say other monster characters, but you're not a monster character. You're a human. They're monsters.
So it's like Spirited Away, but as opposed to working in a house of ill repute, you're a bartender?
Well, I guess so. I don't really know, like, if it's like a job that you have to do, or if it's just kind of like a fun job, because it's basically like an island paradise where I don't think jobs really matter. I think it's kind of just a fun thing to do.
Here you are making drinks.
Well, maybe she finds it fun. But like there's like this campsite that you can go to. It's a very chill vibe on this island. Which was really nice. The story is, like, the bigger story is kind of still bare bones. Mm-hmm. So I don't really know much about it.
So it's a good start, but we'll just see. We'll have to see where it ends up.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you think it's going to have enough content for
the
early access launch? Because
I think
this has been one of your concerns.
I think it is. I played, I guess, as much as I could, but it was still like a decent amount of content. And I think it's unique enough and fun enough that people will
stick around
for it. Yeah.
What's the next game you got for us?
Well, the next game is called Non-Trivial. It reminded me a lot of Andre's the Love and Sex Second Base. It has the time management aspects, and like how each thing would cost time, energy, and happiness. And so you have to like keep track of your happiness and of your energy and all that. Your happiness, honestly, is like really hard to increase, and that's what actually led to my demise. I had a game over because my happiness.
Too depressed.
Yeah, pretty much. And then she like left, and I was like, okay. But like, yeah, it just reminded me of Love and Sex Second Base.
Mm-hmm. These are the Tame It people, isn't it?
Yeah, these are the same publisher that made Tame It, and they're working on Tame It 2 right now. Tame It was on my top Steam of 2022 list. Tame It 2 might be on a top list. Right now, it's like the prototype
I'm surprised
demo.
we haven't seen more. Is it because they're switching engines?
Yeah, like they have this whole new engine that they're using for Tame It 2. Mm-hmm. And it just, I mean, people know, especially you, Andre, you know, getting to a new engine when you're used to working on another engine, it takes time. There's a huge learning curve. So I don't know where this one is going to go. We'll just have to see. I thought it was nice. It kind of played almost like a mobile game. There's like this whole aesthetic where it looks like it's on a computer. The clicks that you would make sound like mouse clicks, and like the whole menu screen was a computer.
Is it going to make you have to learn a whole nother language like Tame It did?
No.
Good.
No.
Then I'm in.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, they did have like the what do they call it, emojis on Tame It, and they were just,
that was the most god awful thing ever.
Yeah,
that was made for Zoomers.
Like I guess, yeah. Well, I think they wanted to try to do like this universal language kind of thing.
And the language was pain.
And the language was pain. I don't know. It wasn't that bad. Once you got once you went to, oh.
That's the point.
Yeah, okay, never mind. I just realized that.
Yes.
I was like, oh, I didn't find it that hard.
Yeah, exactly. You like emojis. You dumb kids and your emoji talk.
Stupid.
We got CD games over here.
So
moving on to other games you like.
CDs, we had cartridge.
Yes, right. Cartridge. Like the thing when on your DS there was cartridges.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I had one, I think. In the DS, like a cartridge?
Yeah, you had plenty of them. And then the Game Boy Advance games that you played of mine, that you, on that first DS that had both, and you said that they were, like you played Advanced Wars and I think a couple Castlevanias, and you're like, yeah, these don't look too good.
Yeah, old Castlevania is like...
You tried the Fire Emblems, and you liked those, but that was about it.
Yeah.
But Fire Emblem games have never been graphic intensive, so...
No. It's very, because there's just squares. So
one shoots an arrow.
Yeah,
one's got a sword.
Yeah,
one's got
simple.
An axe.
It's just simple.
All right, I know you're excited about this next game.
I wanted to talk about Paradise Lost 2 and maybe a little bit about Sinner's Landing.
We talked about Sinner's Landing in like the last.
Yeah, so I'm not going to focus too much on Sinner's Landing because I did talk about it on the last podcast, but I really wanted to focus on Paradise Lost 2. I don't really know what to say about it.
I know this is one of the games that Andre knows about.
Yeah, don't you like it?
Yeah, I loved Paradise Lost 1, and Flexible Media is a droid who runs Flexible Media is a great guy. We talk a lot on Discord, and I'm pretty sure Paradise Lost 2 will be as good or even better than Paradise Lost 1.
When I was playing it, I saw a lot of improvements to Paradise Lost 2 that were just nice details. Like when you were talking on the phone, you would have a person kind of pop up and they would be talking, and I just thought that that's a nice detail. And
I know you're excited about the map.
Well, so the map is interesting. You actually have to create the map yourself, so it's a good way to introduce you back into the island, especially if you've played Paradise Lost 1.
I don't think you need to have played Paradise Lost 1 to enjoy Paradise Lost 2.
I don't think so either. I mean, there are characters that you had known, but it does give you a refresher at the beginning.
Yeah.
And so, you don't really need to play Paradise Lost 1 to enjoy Paradise Lost 2, which is nice.
My worry about any game like this is that if it was Paradise Lost 2, A New Beginning, or something like that, that type of title is more likely to make a new player willing to try it out. So my concern is that there are going to be a lot of people, well, I didn't play Paradise Lost 1, so I'm not going to try this one. And from a marketing standpoint, you want to make a game like this as inviting as possible to new players. So I think this space is still nascent. And so we're all trying to figure out what works and what doesn't work, because it is increasingly apparent that the way people consume adult games is different than the way people consume games. And I think the biggest difference is there's an extra layer of difficulty where it doesn't, if you like shooters, a new shooter comes back out and everybody says this is the shooter to buy, you're probably going to enjoy that shooter. But because adult content games have flavors and everybody likes different flavors, and people have disgust responses to certain flavors. There are people that don't like heterosexual sex. There are people that don't like homosexual sex. There are people that don't like harems. There are people that don't like NTR. There are a lot of people that don't like NTR.
Yeah, even though it's popular.
But I think there are a lot of people that have a disgust response to it. Just as there are going to be more people that have a disgust response to homosexual sex than there are going to be people who have a disgust response to heterosexual sex, because there are more heterosexuals than there are homosexuals. That's not a discrimination thing. That's just a math thing. That doesn't mean that you don't have both flavors and you can't explore them and everything else, but it doesn't matter how good a shooter is. If you're making an adult game, if you don't have the right flavor combination, a person's not going to want to play it.
Yeah.
And figuring out how to communicate to the audience, not just that you have a fun game, but that you have these flavors and people are going to want to try it. And there's also the issue of, is the game going to be complete? Can we trust that the developer is going to finish the game? So Andre has shown that he can finish games. So once again, you may be the poster child for this. It's hard to make video games as is, but when you add the layer of flavors, it makes it that much more difficult. Because the flavors in all of these games, even these harem games, they're different. The kind of appeal that you have in Love and Sex Second Base is very different than the appeal that you would see in A Fresh Women. They're both harem games, but how those harem games manifest are fundamentally different.
Yeah, and I mean, if you think of like shooters, like you were talking about, most shooters are like, I guess in my opinion, like in my eyes, they're mostly the same.
Yeah.
Farming games are basically the kind of same functions. You have Stardew Valley, that's basically Harvest Moon.
Story of Seasons.
Yeah, Story of Seasons. Yeah. It's all the same.
It's
just
a question of, we were playing Sandrock again. My time at Sandrock. You really like that game. I really like that game.
Yeah, and it's the same as we've always played. It's something that we like. Doesn't really matter what it looks like.
But I think if there was sexual content in my time at Sandrock,
that would change a lot of things.
And it would also...
Especially, like, if you have... well, like, in Sandrock, you can get with people, right? Not sexually, but, like, you can... Dating.
But it's very low-key, and because it's completely open-ended, I think it's to keep from offending anybody.
Probably.
But let's say...
like, if you introduce flavors with that character... What if you don't like that character anymore? Because in your mind, when you romance somebody, you have like their, I guess, perfect image in your mind. I don't know how to say it. And once you introduce flavors to existing characters, especially, then that's a whole
Well,
mess,
because it's not just you're adding the sexual content. It's how those characters act in the sexual content.
Also
it's what those characters do in the sexual content. All of a sudden, you're having to. That's that much more work. That's that much more energy.
Yeah.
And any work and energy you're putting in a game in one area means less work and energy in another area.
Yeah.
So it's difficult. And then people will be like, "Oh, that's a perfect game to add monsters in." Well, fine, you add monsters in, then it's going to chase away people who don't like monsters.
Yeah.
So it's tough. And I think that we're all kind of figuring this out. And the nice thing about things like the Hentai Expo is Hentai Expo exposes us to a lot of Japanese games that people wouldn't otherwise be exposed to. And the Japanese market is so much more mature from an age standpoint, not from it's so much older, so they've gone through and figured out a lot of the the things that we're still trying to figure out.
Yeah.
It's also kind of static, though, in that you get that same feeling visual novel from so many games when there's so much more out there. So I think that we can learn from the successes. I think we can also learn from the failures. You're only looking at games you're interested in.
Yeah. What were we talking about? Paradise Lost 2?
We were talking...
Where did the time go?
Hey, you said you weren't sure what you were going to say about it, and we sure said a lot about something.
I know. I mean, are you, Andre, excited about Paradise Lost 2?
Yeah, I'm pretty excited by anything Flexible Media makes. I think they have a great team, nice story. Well, honestly, it's one of the companies I'm looking up to.
Oh, nice. It's always nice to look up to somebody.
So, our next game.
Our next game.
It's a double header.
Yeah, so I have Drain Mansion and Cycle of Corruption. I'm going to talk first, I guess, about Drain Mansion because that's their first game.
Yeah.
And then go into their sequel. What was it called?
Cycle of Corruption.
Cycle of Corruption, yeah.
Hey, you lied to me. I'm so sad. You told me you would do it in order. I feel so heartbroken and betrayed.
It's betrayed.
I send you some bears.
Are we going to talk about this bear beef?
Yeah, I want to.
Okay.
This bear beef.
While we're talking about Drain Mansion, let's talk about the bear in the room. So, since I'm a third party, I'd like to explain this if I can. Is that all right?
Oh, yeah, sure.
Andre, is that okay? Because this is my...
Yeah, sure.
Okay. So, back when Annie was on Twitter more, because...
Twitter is just a mess.
Well,
yeah.
it's there's so many more bots now, and it's just. But back when you were on Twitter more, you were interacting with different developers and everything else, and I guess you had a running joke about this bear in Love and Sex Second Base, and I guess if you choose that you're bad with animals, and then you go swimming at a certain time, you get eaten by a shark, and if you go into the woods at a certain time, you get mauled by the bear.
Yeah.
And it's not a canonical ending. You don't get New Game Plus after you die from the bear. So,
yeah.
But the reason it came to my attention is we're in Japan, and she wants to get a bear bell. And these are things they have in Japan that you put on your backpack as you're backpacking in the woods to scare the bear away. It just seems to me like it's a dinner bell inviting the bear to come and maul you.
Yeah. It's so, I'm here.
So we went to 3 different stores looking for this stupid bear bell, and she finally gets it. And I'm like, why do you want this? We're not going hiking in the woods. And she's like, I have to get it for Love and Sex Second Base. So as soon as you got it back home, she tweeted it out to you. And what is the deal with this bear thing?
Well, I mean... the joke was that I was like, oh, when are you going to romance the bear? Because it's just an option. Because
there's so many other women to romance.
Yeah, exactly. I'm just like, well, why not the bear? And I mean,
The bear is in a relationship with Shark-chan.
Who's that?
The shark.
Oh, the shark, right.
Yeah.
So once, which just makes, given the fact that this is a harem game and you have a cute name for each of the harems, wouldn't you be able to woo both the shark and the bear, and then you can call it the Surf and Turf harem?
That's great.
Yeah, that could be a nice ending. I would love to see Mike riding a shark with his bear girlfriend in the sea, in the sunset.
That just sounds beautiful.
There's a this bear and shark kind of thing. It reminded me of this cartoon that I used to watch, and it was basically you had a bear and a shark, and then this one guy who would literally try to get with this girl, but the bear and the shark would compete with each other to see if they could eat you the fastest. I'm gonna try to find.
Footage.
I'm gonna try to find footage of this.
Now I know how you feel when I talk about an old game, because I have no idea.
I'm gonna try to find it. I don't know if I will. Mm-hmm. I'm gonna search bear and shark duo attacks man, and I'm sure it'll pop up.
So we'll see. There's either going to be footage of this, or there's going to be somebody in the comments.
I hope I find footage.
I know what you're talking about. That was the greatest TV show ever.
Well, so I watched it on my DS, so I don't know if that. It sounds so stupid now.
Okay.
But there was an app on the DS that could let you watch like weekly episodes of something. Of something. Like what was it called? It's Bee and Puppy Cat. You would watch that thing.
So for parents out there, once again, your children will always find ways to get access to things and technology that you will have no idea about until decades later.
Whatever. It wasn't bad stuff.
I'm just saying, I still have no idea. I did not know.
I know. I'm gonna have to look into it, and it's gonna bring back so many memories.
So, Drain Mansion.
Oh yeah. I guess getting back to the games.
I guess we can talk about the game.
But Drain Mansion was interesting. So it's a horror game. It's a platformer, and it has some horror aspects. You know, you're chased around by these monster girls. The story is that you get trapped in a mansion and you have to escape before you're drained. That's basically the story. And you solve a bunch of puzzles, and you know, it's pretty fun. Yeah, I mean, it's very simple. It's very simple. So there's not really much to say about it. I like horror games.
But not too scary.
Yeah, it just has to be not too scary. And I think Drain Mansion and their other game, Cycle of Corruption, does the horror theme well for me because I like the horror aspects, but like I said, I don't like it to be too scary.
So it's scary, just not top hat scary.
Yes. You're going to say this joke and no one's going to get it.
It's fine. It's great. People who listen to every podcast will get it.
Yeah, I guess that's true.
Just like the team of people who love Gaston and call themselves Team Gaston, which I thought was hilarious because I have not encouraged that at all.
I haven't either. It just happened.
It's taken on a life of its own.
Yeah, it's just like this bean.
So, Andre, how do you feel about Gaston and Beauty and the Beast?
Well, I'm not a huge fan of this movie at all. Beauty and the Beast. Because of the borderline zoophilia.
The zoophilia?
Yeah, it's borderline. You know, I'm not sure he waited to be a human again before, doing the deed.
Oh, okay.
So that is well, it's in the fairy tale, definitely. I think that is a viable argument because the fairy tale is very, tough. So I believe what we're hearing here is that Andre is pro Gaston.
Yeah, sounds like it.
Yeah, I think, yeah, clearly I am pro Gaston.
So, all right. So one more for Team Gaston.
Yeah, we need to have like a board of everybody.
That's going to be like your default question to any developer who comes on.
Yes, like, so what do you think about
before we get
Gaston?
started, I just need to know how you feel about Beauty and the Beast. And Andre's like, oh, we need to kill that beast. And okay, so that's automatic Team Gaston. Okay, not a problem. It's like, and we're going to get somebody who's going to be like, I'm pro Ron Weasley, so that's going to be...
That's just a whole other list.
But that's going to be pro Gaston, because, the Beast, NTR'd...
They are pro Weasley people?
I don't know if you're aware of this or not, but Annie is a redhead, and redheads tend to band together. They're a dwindling people. And
are you saying that I would be pro Ron?
I think that
I don't really like
hold
Ron.
On, but
actually, no, I like Ron in the books.
Yes.
I don't like Ron in the movies.
But here you
Ron
are,
in the movies annoyed me.
You and your mother are, if it's a redhead character.
That's very true.
And I know it's very true.
Yeah.
And you guys get so upset when like a redhead character is because they always pick the redhead to recast as someone else. That's like it's a redhead character, we can get rid of that. So you guys are very so you can't even front and say that you're not pro Weasley, okay?
All right, fine.
I'm going to call you out for that. So anyways,
all right.
Given the fact that the Beast stole Hermione from Ron Weasley, I mean, you got to be pro Gaston too, I guess.
Funny. You're so stupid.
I am.
Cycle of Corruption.
Our next game.
Well, no, we're still on this game.
Oh, I
still want to talk about it.
Oh, okay. I thought you were just basically saying it was the same thing.
No, it's not. It's like an entirely different game. It's an RPG kind of format, and where the other one was a platformer.
Okay.
And you are still being hunted and chased by monster girls in this one, which is the same as the last one. But it's more of your standard RPG
Is it
format.
still a sex on defeat mechanic?
Yes.
Okay.
And the defeat is actually death. So it's full defeat.
So it's full defeat.
Yeah.
Like most games, you're reloading your last save.
Yeah, but the saves are interesting. So you have to keep track of your corruption, because each time you die, and you die from getting caught, you can choose to either submit and become more corrupt or lose a paper charm, which allows you to save the game. So you have to like keep track of your charms, keep track of your corruption, and it's a game over if you become fully corrupt.
This just sounds like a mechanic that I'm going to cheat in the save file.
Okay, well, that's your choice. I don't like to cheat on these games because I want to get the full experience.
You didn't cheat in Love and Sex Second Base?
Well, I may have cheated a little bit. It's there. It's an option that's like in the game.
It's the only way to get certain outcomes.
Yeah, pretty much.
It's the canonical way to play the game, and we don't care what the developer thinks about this.
Listen.
And didn't you threaten to take it away at one point?
Not really threatened, but we had plans to include it in the supporter pack we have on Steam. But people were not keen on that.
Yeah, so you threatened to take it away.
You threatened to take it away. Like, and
people were like, no.
We didn't threaten to take it away. We're going to paywall it. So this just goes to show.
Well, at first, it was a tool for people during early access because, we had a lot of game-breaking bugs. So as you were forced to restart more often, we included the cheats as a way to counterbalance that. And when we left early access last summer, I wanted to move it to the DLC, but in the end we didn't.
You've left one of the most difficult game-breaking bugs in the game intentionally. I believe you call it Kylie.
She's one of the best characters in the game. The two sisters are the best character in the game.
That's fair.
No, it's not fair. I can't ever go back to the college after a certain point, because then she's unleashed and then she's everywhere.
Yeah.
And it's like if you're playing fresh, you have to only get educated at certain times so she doesn't show up, because once she shows up, she's everywhere. And if you're trying to you have to deal with her. And once she's unleashed, if you don't deal with her, you're going to have a bad Christmas.
Yeah, a very bad Christmas.
It just adds that added challenge.
It just makes me, it's terrible. I don't want the added challenge.
Well, then don't go for her.
Have you played since we added her ending?
I am aware of some of her endings, but I'm at the point where I look at the new patches that come out, and I look at the updates, and I'm like, oh, I want to try this out if I see it. But I'll be honest, I'm waiting for the game to finish.
Yeah.
And I don't care about the Bree side story. I know there are a lot of people that do, and I respect that and go for it. But I just want to see the game finish so I can do a fresh start and play from the beginning and enjoy it. And that's what I'm looking forward to doing with Subverse.
Honestly, yeah, because don't the saves all break when they fully release?
Well, that's what you've been told, but that is...
Yeah, that's true.
Hey, listen, they also said that the game was going to be in Mandarin.
Yeah,
so,
I know.
I mean...
Right. I forgot.
Let's yeah.
For Love and Sex being finished, we have only a few loose ends in the main game right now. There's just one storyline with Anna who is not finished, and otherwise everything else is done for the main game. And after that we have the FAFO DLC we're working on, but that's not the main game.
Yeah.
All right. What is our next game?
The next game is Third Crisis.
Crisis, which you covered. I feel like you covered this one years ago, didn't you?
Yeah, I covered this one years ago. I'll probably pop up the original.
Yeah, but that might be one of those. It's funny, you've left some of your older reviews up, even though you refuse to ever listen to them.
It's hard. It's hard.
If her mom and I ever want to chase her out of her room, all we have to do is pull up an early video of "Welcome to Sex Positive Gaming," and she is gone.
Yeah,
she's gone like a cartoon character.
Yeah, so. You see the smoke, just like a poof of smoke, and I'm just gone.
So it's one of the older reviews, and you like the game.
The game focuses on the female protagonist corruption arc really, really well. I thought it was done really, really well.
Because a lot of times, let's be honest, the standard female corruption art game kind of annoys you.
It does. Because it's just very samey. So, and this one tackles it relatively the same, but like
it's novel.
Yeah, it's still different, and the story is really unique. I really like the story.
Were these the guys that don't they have that other game that was you did YouTube? It was one of the top new Patreons last year. That 3D corruption game.
I mean, that's a lot.
It was like the medieval fantasy one.
I don't know. But yeah, like Third Crisis, you play as a female protagonist and you are on a mission to save your girlfriend from this evil group. But the thing is that you get to the place where they're keeping her and you try to save her, but then you are defeated, actually, and you are experimented on for like 5 years or something, and you wake up.
This is
5
an
years.
involved prologue.
I know. It's a really long prologue.
Erican.
Oh, Erican.
Yeah,
that was a good game. I liked it. Yeah, 3D corruption game. That was
You made a whole video last year.
Well, I had forgot. Well, I didn't know. Yeah.
Yeah, it's cool. It's fine. Make me feel crazy.
I knew you weren't crazy. I was just waiting for you to find it.
I apprate you saying that
you
I'm
just
not
saying,
crazy.
Look, listen, you just saying 3D corruption game. It's
like
so many games. like that doesn't help me.
Fair enough.
But anyways, so you wake up 5 years later and you, like, the whole world has changed. It's kind of gone awry. Everything's different now, and you have to find your girlfriend Karen, see if she's still alive, see if she's doing good, and you have to do this all while trying not to get corrupted. Of course, you can choose to get corrupted if you want to.
Yeah.
It all depends on what you want to do. But yeah, I liked it.
You liked it because you said it was like Fire Emblem.
Yeah, especially the battle scenes. Fire Emblem. If you like that, you'll like this. It's an open world RPG and all that kind of stuff. You can roam around a town, pretty much just the town and like the woods around it.
And it's officially out of early access, right?
Yeah, it just got out of early access this month. And it's been in early access since 2020.
Oh, God.
So it's been a long time coming.
Outfits, but no maps, right?
The map is interesting. There is a map, but like from what I can remember, it's very zoomed in.
Okay.
It doesn't have like that
whole world kind of view that you like.
Yeah, okay. Or if it does, it zooms out and it's like very... what's that game called? The Manor one? Manor Lords? Where when you zoom out, it kind of shows like the...
Okay, it's the same thing, yeah.
Yeah, kind of like that. Yep, I'll show pictures on YouTube, but...
I think you had Manor Lords in a patron video.
Yeah, I know. But like you zoomed out on a detailed map and it got like simpler, that kind of stuff.
And people were like talking about one of the goats, because I guess the goat had a name.
Well, yeah, the goats have names for some fucking reason. It's like, okay, why not?
To be fair, most of the games you cover have things for a fucking reason.
Wow. Yeah. The next game, Starbreed. This one's actually really cool. I had a lot of fun playing this one. It's basically a shooter like the early Star Fox games from Nintendo. Nintendo 64. But it has a much more linear trajectory. It's called a rail shooter.
Okay.
Whereas in Star Fox
was sort of on rails too. It wasn't completely open.
Yeah, but you could like fly around and
limited.
Yeah.
Like the first one it was very tight.
Yeah. But you can definitely tell that they got a lot of their inspiration from Star Fox.
Oh, this is definitely an homage to that old school kind of...
Well, and they were also talking about that on the Hentai Expo.
One of the Discord, guy that they were all like, do a barrel roll.
Yeah, you can do barrel rolls in this. And the guy, what was his name? Hi Guy. He plays retro games. Yeah, so of course he knew about all that.
And he lit up immediately and was really into that. Once again, they had experiences that could have been better capitalized on.
Yeah.
Were you a fan of Star Fox, Andre?
Yeah, and at the risk of sounding a bit snobbish, Star Fox was on Super NES, Super Nintendo, not on Nintendo Dreamcast. Not on Nintendo 64.
I wasn't going to correct her because
really?
I knew. Remember, she doesn't go past a certain level of pixels, so it's really hard to get her to play any.
That's
of the
true.
early stuff.
I was looking at the early footage for Star Fox, and it was bad.
And
it was rough.
You know what's funny though? She'll play the old school. She doesn't even like the old school Mario Kart maps. She loves Mario Kart, but the original Super Nintendo Mario Kart maps, she's such a snob about them. She turns up her nose.
I am. It's really hard to watch.
You're like, this is stupid.
I understand for the time that it was like amazing.
Yeah, I mean that's what happened. We got electricity and indoor plumbing, and we got to play Mario Kart. It was in that order.
In that order.
F-Zero was great too.
F-Zero was it was a futuristic racing game. It's where Captain Falcon comes from.
Oh, okay.
So, who you know from other games.
I know him from Super Mario, Super Smash Bros. Yeah.
that's Dude, most people your age. Oh, what I thought was funny was it was one of those Pornhub lists, and the Pornhub lists are always fake.
Yeah.
Because they take out a lot of things that will get them in trouble. But I get it. They put
Understandable,
it up,
yeah,
and,
whatever.
Like one of the top characters was Chun-Li, and it was Chun-Li, but the people were searching for it with Fortnite.
Really?
Not Street Fighter, Fortnite, because all of the Zoomers who were on
Pornhub, they didn't
Hub,
know that it
they
was
didn't
from...
know. They knew it from Fortnite.
Oh, that's crazy.
Well, that's what you just did.
I know. That's okay, fine, whatever.
You're like, I can't believe they did that. You just did that.
All right, fine.
I appreciate somebody my age being on to help me. Correct
me.
It was so rare. It's like, the funny question, we're watching this, and the question that we had wasn't do a barrel roll or anything. We want to know if all of the characters have their legs cut off and replaced with metal ones, like is lore in Star Fox. So...
well, I played it, and from what I could see...
There was no metal on metal banging?
Yeah.
Okay. Because that's why when you have Smash Brothers and they fight, when you hear a kick...
Oh, you hear a bang.
You hear a metal
clang.
sound because their legs are metal.
Yeah, that's such a cool detail.
Well, it wasn't necessary, and it was kind of ghoulish. They did it because one of the problems with G-forces is, your blood is going to move through your body. And what can happen is, depending on which direction the G-forces are going in, you can lose the blood in your legs.
Oh, jeez.
Because and then
what will happen is... So wait, did they cut off his legs on purpose?
Yeah, they cut off because the idea was that they're dealing with so many G-forces that their legs would have gone gangrenous from lack of blood. And so they cut the legs off and replace them with metal legs so that the blood will stay in your torso and head, and you won't have a problem with all the G-forces. Look, you can find the old manual that talks about this. It's crazy. Gosh. So, Nintendo's got some fun stuff every once in a while.
Fun. It's so dark. You're like, oh, so fun.
Dude, I don't think the timeline is any darker when the head of Nintendo of America is named Bowser, and he talks about going to the family castle. So
that's so funny.
It is so funny. I like how he's probably leaned into it his whole career.
I'm sure. Them. I mean, your last name's
he's
Bowser.
A great guy. I mean, he's no Reggie, but he is a great guy.
Yeah, Reggie.
So, anyways, Star Fox with sex.
Yeah.
Is there anything else to say about this?
Not really.
Okay.
Not really.
That's not a bad thing. I know.
Oh, no, it's not. It was really fun to play. I don't really play shooters like that. So I had a fun time. There is a learning curve, but it's really easy. Okay. If I could learn to do it, you can learn to do it.
Dating sim aspect, I think you were telling me?
Yeah, some dating sim. Well, the dating sim is going to be there. Okay. It's still very early.
All right.
But you can tell that it's going to be there. Mm-hmm. Like, for the sex scenes, you can have them pretty much as soon as they are on your team. So I'm sure there's going to be dating elements later on.
These are the same developers as Spunk Stock, right?
Yes.
And that was, when you do, for your game of the year, one of the things you do is best music. And Spunk Stock was...
Well, it was a rhythm game, and so it was one of the contenders for my best music award.
I remember as we were getting toward the end of the year, you were having a lot of trouble because you liked the music from...
Demon's Roots.
Demon's Roots.
Because they had like a whole person come in and like do the composing
and you
for it.
played it for me, and I told you how it reminded me of
the Ys series.
Yeah,
right?
the female composer from the early Ys games.
Yeah.
And I played her, and you're like, oh my god, that does sound the same.
Yeah.
And so you thought you were going to go with that, but then Flipwitch came out and just blew everything away.
Yeah,
so.
and I was like, all right, I guess I'm going to have to choose Flipwitch. It was so good.
Did you play Flipwitch, Andre, or were you familiar with it?
No, not at all.
You may want to check it out. It's got an amazing soundtrack, and it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, and I mean, if you don't want to check out the game, you can find their music on Spotify. Yeah, so if you like that kind of like 8-bit music, like I do, I really like 8-bit music, or I guess...
I'll check it out.
Yeah, I don't know how bits work with music.
I don't know either.
So I think they call it like chip tunes, or I think that's what they go with for the description.
Yeah.
I don't know because names change all the time.
I guess maybe like retro.
Yeah, I'm old enough to know
music.
that whatever I think to call something is not going to be the right thing. And whenever I bring up a game, you're going to laugh at me.
Pretty much,
like Birthright, the Gorgons Alliance.
You know, one person, I
there
had
were two people. There were two people in the comments. They were like, yeah, that game rocks.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, Gaston.
God.
All right. Our next game is, I was excited about this.
Well, yeah, because it's a farming game.
Yeah, but I don't like every farming game. But
That's very true.
This one looked good because it reminded me of Rune Factory.
Yes, and you loved Rune Factory.
I loved Rune Factory.
I never really got into Rune Factory.
I know, because you're a farm snob.
Well, I don't know. I guess I was just like too busy with other
farming games.
Yeah, so like I was when RuneScape was like really big, I was busy, doing stuff on Harvest Moon.
So we should probably say the title of this game.
Oh yeah, Forestia.
Yeah, so it can pop up in the video. So we're talking about being like, what's it called?
Yeah, sorry, Forestia. Is the name.
And I love how people will be like, what's this game? What's the link to this game? And you're like, the links can be found in the description.
Yes.
Because YouTube doesn't allow you to link to anything.
Yeah, so all the links that I'm going to put for these games are going to be on my Patreon.
And if you're listening to this on Spotify, same deal. Just go to the Patreon. It'll be there, and all the links will be there.
Yeah.
As well as everything you'll need to know about Andre.
Yeah, I'll link to everything about him.
I'll link to about him. And where you can buy a bear bell of your own.
I should do that. I should find like a website.
Like an Amazon vendor page. Take credit.
Bear bell.
For the 3.
You know what? We will add a bear bell to Love and Sex just for you.
What?
Does it summon the bear or chase the bear away? I think it would be better if it summoned the bear.
You'll have to test it out yourself.
We'll have to test it.
I think it'd be because I think you have to go in like the wilderness at night.
Yeah,
and do a long hike or something.
Yeah.
But I think if it like came out and then the bear had like a knife and a fork and a bib on.
So it's like, I'm ready. It's like...
Is the bear's like, it's Morbid time.
Oh no, that's so old. Now you're like,
what year is this?
Oh my god.
To be fair, that movie came out after this game started development.
That's true.
So, in my defense.
Whatever.
All right. So.
But the farming game. Yeah.
This is a farming game.
Yeah, you got farming, you have fishing, you have foraging, you have mining, which the mining looks very similar to Stardew Valley. And then you have quests, you have a leveling up system.
And you had to go buy this game off of, like, the Chinese DL site page, didn't you?
Well, yeah, like it was all in, I had to play it all in Japanese, so I didn't really know what was going on.
And it wasn't even on DL site's page. It was like...
Yeah.
It was the, what is it, the ci.e?
Yeah, ci-en. Yeah, cn. I don't know how to pronounce it.
Yeah.
But I've just been saying...
We should have asked the DL site people, how do you pronounce this? We'll do it next time.
Yeah.
We'll get there. You didn't know how to pronounce Netarare in the beginning.
That's
true.
You
didn't know how to pronounce GitHub on your last video.
I'm sorry.
And I heard you saying that, and I'm like, what?
I'm sorry.
Why would it be a just sound? And what was your justification for that? You were small?
Well, it's like the same thing with like GIF and GIF. I mean, it's like...
GIF is a peanut butter.
GIF is a peanut butter.
Yes.
Yeah, with the J?
Yeah. No, and GIF is a moving picture.
But people say it like both.
No, they don't.
Yeah, they do.
No, they don't.
Yeah, they do.
No, they don't.
They do. They do. And it's like the same thing.
The ones that does are wrong.
I don't know. This could be once again, this could be Chung-Li from Fortnite.
Maybe.
And the Zoomer is just telling us how it is.
Listen,
but,
I understand that I said, now I'm scared to say it again. GitHub, yeah.
Yeah. And you know the reason why? This is what my grandma always said. You should never make fun of somebody who mispronounces words like that because it shows that they're a reader.
Yeah, exactly.
Because you'd never heard it spoken.
I
You're
really
a hikikomori.
haven't.
You never leave the house.
Damn. Yeah.
So you didn't know how to pronounce it. Just like you didn't know how to pronounce Nerorare.
Yeah.
I didn't know that was how you pronounced it.
Yeah, me neither.
So you will pronounce it correctly moving forward, and you appreciate the feedback everyone gave you about the proper pronunciation.
Yeah, I appreciate everybody's very passive-aggressive.
No, there were some people who were nice about it.
I know,
everybody
there were.
was passive-aggressive.
Yeah, you're right. I guess maybe I took it passively-aggressively.
You just don't like criticism.
Well, anyways.
So this farming game.
Yeah, this farming game.
I played this one too.
But yeah, it was like all in Japanese, so I had really no idea what was going on. I did have like Google Translate on my phone, and I was kind of translating each sentence.
Taking pictures.
and I had to do it when I had to answer a question, like yes or no. I eventually learned which one was yes and no, but
so from
a story standpoint, I have no idea what this is about.
It is a pretty standard Harvest Moon, Story of Seasons, Rune Factory kind of farming game.
Yeah, you get a farm to fix up. Yeah. And you meet the people around the town, and yeah.
And you've been asking for
a farming
game like this. Now, here's what I'll say: it is very early in development.
It is.
There are no videos of it, so it is. There's, I think, almost no sexual interactions in it so far.
Yeah, very little.
You were okay with the map?
Yeah, I did like the map. It was very cute. Like cutesy art style.
Yeah, the whole thing has a cutesy art style. So.
Yeah, honestly, yeah. Very, Harvest Moon looking, or Rune Factory. Jeez, we keep bringing that up.
And how do you feel about farming games, Andre?
I love the Harvest Moon. I played it in Nintendo 64 years ago. I loved it. I played Rune Factory. It was great. I played Stardew Valley. It's fantastic.
So why are there not more farming games with sex? It seems like a natural combination. Is it just it's too much work?
The age-old question.
Yeah, well, there is a dating aspect in most of them, so it should be quite a natural evolution.
So why don't we see it though? Why do you think it is? Is it just it's too much work, or
maybe the devs who make adult games don't like farming games?
I don't know. Well, you like farming games.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that should be the next game among the others.
I never had the idea of making one. Maybe I'll make the first one in a few years.
All right, now I know you've got a whole bunch of irons in the fire. Are you going to make an announcement about a new game that you have in development on this podcast?
Yes.
We might talk about some stuff at the end if you want.
Might talk about some stuff at the end.
Okay, well that will keep the people who are...
I don't know. Now we're promising a lot. I think we're near the end anyway, because you got like 2 games left.
I know.
So. I'm looking at the list here and I'm like, okay, all right.
Yeah, but so I finally wanted to get to the ill games.
The elephant in the room.
Ew. Yes, I guess. The elephant in the room.
Well, because what I thought was interesting was Hillary got all excited when she saw this because she's like, I recognize this.
Well, yeah, because I think she really likes the character customization.
In Illusion games.
Yeah, in Illusion games.
I don't think she realized that this was ill games and not Illusion. And it's not very clear to me if that was conveyed very well.
Yeah.
So, I mean, Ill Games is a separate company from Illusion.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And we don't want there to be... I know they look similar, and I know that there may be questions about staff and who moved over and everything else, but I think that there is a very good reason why these are separate companies, and we should respect when they tell us that they are separate companies.
Yes. So the game I wanted to talk about is HoneyCome Come Party Dolce by Ill Games. I actually covered this last year in September when it came out on Steam.
Did very well.
It did very well, yeah. And
not on Steam, but it did amazingly well on DL side.
Yeah, no, yeah. It didn't really do well on Steam, probably because of the price.
It's not an Illusion game, but it's got Illusion pricing.
Yeah, like...
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, HoneyCome Come Party was like $70 on Steam,
but
and then
people paid when Koikatsu Party came out. People paid that much money for it.
Yeah, I know.
And when AI Girl came out,
AI
do we call
Shoujo.
it AI Shoujo or AI Girl? Why is it that we translate some words and not other words? I don't understand the rules.
I don't know, but it is both.
Okay.
It's AI. I've seen both AI
Okay.
Girl and AI Shoujo.
Okay.
I think when I covered the game,
Called it AI Shoujo?
I called it AI Shoujo.
Maybe that's why I didn't get as many views.
Maybe.
What's it? Is it? I think it's called AI Shoujo on Steam, and there's like a star in it or something.
Yeah, it is. So maybe that was one of the changes that they made for the Steam version.
Yeah, but
because that's what they did.
But people spent the money on that. So
yeah.
And HoneyCome, we're almost a year since the release of HoneyCome.
Yeah. Oh, geez.
And because I think your End of Illusion video, you put it out. I think the announcement was last July that they were closing.
Yeah, because they had their 30th anniversary.
It was
like,
so sad.
Right
And they had like watches for sale and everything else. I'm mad I didn't buy one now.
I know.
Come get the 30th. There won't be a 31, guys.
Yeah, I know. They should have warned us. Like right at the bottom, like really tiny.
I was really expecting more content by now.
Yeah.
And it really feels like a bare bones version of Koikatsu. Definitely a prettier version of Koikatsu. Definitely definitely a evolutionary step up, but it still looks like a very restricted version of it. Have you played or at least looked into HoneyCome, Andre?
No, but Illusion games were part of my growing up as an adult gamer. I played Sexy Beach, the first one, when I was about 20.
Beach.
Oh, okay.
She's making a face at me.
I'm so sorry.
It's fine. It's fine. That's why I was translating for her.
Sexy Beach.
It's okay.
Yeah.
It's okay. And knowing some of the other titles they've made,
dude,
it's totally believable.
Honestly, I was like, oh, did I miss one?
No, it's okay. I got you, bro.
No, I played the first one and the second one. I played most of the titles about that decade, early 2000, 2010. I played most of the games, but I don't know.
Yeah, they were really popular then.
And I don't know where the adult game space in the West would be without the creation engines.
Oh, okay.
From Honey Select and Koikatsu, because there's so many passion projects that people make. One of your favorite developers uses the
Eternum?
Yeah.
Yeah, they use the Honey Select
and whatever
models.
the previous game they made too.
Once in a Lifetime. Yeah.
I know you like both of those, and you really like Eternum.
Oh yeah, Eternum's so nice.
It's never going to be on Steam.
I know. Oh well.
I'd love to be proved wrong.
I know, but whatever.
We'll see. And so I expected more, and they talked about it. And it was interesting because they talked about it, I guess because it wasn't in the last Hentai Expo, because the move on HoneyCome has been so rapid. And it sold a bunch of copies on DL site.
Yeah.
And so this is where it gets a little interesting. They showed another game, which has a DL site page and has like no video. It has
right now
no
I'm
demo.
I can't show anything.
You can't buy it. There's and it's called Revenge Paradise.
Yeah.
And it looks like AI Shoujo.
It does. It has the same kind of character customization. I went back to AI Shoujo to see what their character customization. It has the same background, that gray background.
It's a different company, but this is a completely separate company from Illusion and Ill Games.
Yeah, it's called Onari Cat.
So
but I couldn't find anything about them.
Yeah, we don't know anything about it. We couldn't find anything about it.
Yeah, I can only show like 3 pictures of this game.
I've talked to some people from the industry, and there is an idea, but if we can't confirm it, we're not going to spread. So sorry.
Yeah, what if we're wrong?
Yeah, well, it's not necessary. The truth will out eventually.
Honestly, yeah.
We'll get there. So if you want to speculate, just be careful what you say and how you say on YouTube, and of course, your comments sometimes get automatically removed. It's not Annie; she's not there banning comments. It's YouTube, and post on Patreon or come to the Discord, and she'll talk to you there.
Yeah.
No pressure, Annie.
That's fine. That's fine. Yeah, I mean, but I can't really say much about the game. I
looks
know
good.
that. Yeah, no, yeah, it looks really good. The story is a bit interesting. So, like, it's kind of like, what was that game? MonMusu Paradise. It's the one that I talked about, like at the beginning. One? Yeah. Uh-huh. So basically, in this one, in Revenge Paradise, you inherit your grandfather's island resort.
Shut up.
I'm serious.
Are you building an amusement park?
No.
Okay,
you're not.
Because I was going to be done.
I know.
Like, okay, I can't.
No, you're not building an amusement park.
Okay.
But it's basically like this island where they put girls with quote-unquote special circumstances. I don't really know what that means. And you are their quote-unquote executioner. Listen, I'm just taking it from your words.
Okay, hold on. That's a translation thing.
I'm sure it is.
Okay, hold on. It's not like Persona Executioner. It's you are they have a special circumstance.
You're actually chopping them down.
And you are the person in charge of executing that circumstance, not chopping off heads.
Yes.
Okay.
Too bad, honestly. But
save it for Persona.
Yeah, but yeah, you have to just hunt them down and punish them with your penis, and that's basically it.
Anyways.
But yeah, it does have a character creation, very much like AI Shoujo, and they are planning to add character sharing features where you can share character creations with others.
Is it going to be a digital card?
They haven't said that yet, but I'm wondering if it's going to look like cards, if they're going to have a page like HoneyCome where they have the cards. I don't know.
It's going to be, we'll put it in the what's even going on here section.
Yeah.
Who are we kidding section?
Yeah, basically.
So, but it sounds like there might be gameplay, which is hit or miss with illusion-style games.
Yeah, I remember the gameplay. I'm trying to remember the footage that they showed on the Hentai Expo, and it looked like it was open world, but you could run around the island.
Yeah, because they had a video, and you could not find it.
I could not find the video, so that must have been a special video that they got, which sucks.
Or it's like on their Twitter, and everybody has access to it, and you missed it.
Yeah, that's true, because I don't like Twitter and I don't go there, so.
So if you have video footage of this, maybe try linking it on Patreon. Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know.
Good luck.
Yeah, I mean, for the footage on YouTube, I guess right now I could be showing HoneyCome.
You can show pictures.
I could,
because they're like 4 pictures.
No, there's 3 pictures.
3 pictures.
There's 3 pictures that I can show. If there's 4, then
I can... A big release with 3 pictures.
But this is so long, we're going to have to find something else to show.
It's all right. You can show some of the most popular and not controversial illusion games.
Well, I was thinking that. Like, what if I just showed
not
AI
controversial illusion games? You could show your old AI Shoujo stuff and be like, it looks like this, but it's a totally different company.
Yeah, that's what I was planning on.
Pinky swear.
Yeah.
Don't pinky swear.
I'm not pinky swearing.
And I think that's
all the 17 games.
All
yeah.
Right.
Or I guess 16, because I didn't really talk about Sinner's Landing.
It's close enough. Somebody will be, and we've talked about other games.
Oh, that's true. We talked about a lot of games.
And that's fine. And we may, no pressure, Andre, are we talking about a final game?
Basically, we are making a remake of Second Base with 3D characters, cel-shaded. We are taking everything our community have sent us in terms of improvements and trying to incorporate it in the build. It's quite complicated for us because we are not used to working with 3D. It's a new engine. A lot of things are like that.
And you said every single suggestion? Does this include any, let's call them Ursine suggestions?
Well, I'm not saying that we will make everything people suggested a reality in third base. That for sure. But there are some, for example, a lot of people complain that love and sex is a bit complicated. I don't see where, but okay, I can understand that. Why not? Why not? I think it's a pretty simple game, straightforward. But
well, I think that's why they were so mad when you threatened to take away the
cheat
mode.
Maybe.
It's not complicated per se. It's just a lot, I think, and I think that deters people from finishing it, honestly.
But I think from our developers' perspective, though, having a more involved game increases replay value.
Oh yeah,
because,
it definitely does.
How many times have you restarted and played that game?
I have done that so many times.
So that's yeah. So you're saying one thing, but once again,
I know.
Your behavior as a consumer is saying something completely different. So
you know that the average playtime for Love and Sex is bigger than the average playtime for Witcher 3.
For Witcher 3?
For Witcher, well, that makes sense because there's a lot more sex in Love and Sex. So
that's true. Yeah. But yeah, people play Love and Sex longer on average than Witcher 3.
Does this mean that you're adding Gwent to third base?
No, but we are removing something. Maybe you're from someone who played our games. We will remove the fun, anger, and energy managing mechanic.
Oh, we don't deal with that mechanic anyway because we're both cheating.
Oh my god.
Wait, there's an energy requirement? The only time you need to mess with the energy requirement is if you're dating, what's her name? The ex-girlfriend who cheats on you. Alexis. Yeah.
Alexis.
You know, she's maybe the characters I'm the most proud of the story, you know.
She definitely has the most I think one of the more edgy stories. She definitely, some of the other ones kind of seem like cookie cutter in some cases. No offense, because you're hitting flavors.
Yeah,
but hers really has depending on which path you go, it's a very different experience.
But I love the fact that a lot of players came to me and said, wow, I started by hating that character. And once the reveal came, it completely turned my vision of that character around.
Excellent. And that's why you should always buy the baseball bat when you have the money for
it. Yeah, you need the baseball bat. It's so satisfying.
So what we've heard is that you're never going to be able to date the bear, Annie.
No, I don't think so.
It's never happening.
Disappointing.
What's that mean? Stop trying to make the bear happen. It's not going to happen.
Maybe I'll look to Paradise Lost with the lizard.
I don't think so.
They kind of did it with you having to dress up in that
lizard.
No, in the lizard.
In the lizard costume.
Yeah.
So you get a bear costume for Love and Sex.
Yeah, you can put the person in a bear costume.
Well, and this harkens back to when you were doing the monster one and the what's her name putting on the cow costume, because she fell in love with the bull.
Oh, yeah.
Daedalus making the cow costume.
Yeah.
So it all ties back.
It all ties back to Greek mythology.
It probably does.
If you enjoyed this episode of Shame Free Gaming, be sure to check out my YouTube channel, my Patreon, and my Discord. I want to thank Andreas for joining us today. It was really, really great to talk to you.
Thank you. I was very happy to be here.
Where can people find you or your games?
Well, I think mostly everywhere. We're on Steam, Patreon, itch.io, GOG, the L site, Nutaku, and our own website.
I will leave all the links down below for where you can find them. Also, all of the games that we talked about can be found on my Patreon, Sex Positive Gaming. I hope you enjoyed this episode, and I will see you next time.